Welcome, everyone. It's Rebecca Monet, Chief Scientist at Zorakle Profiles. Zorakle provides profiling tools for franchisors and franchise brokers that helps facilitate a right fit between a prospective franchisee and a franchisor. So today I have Tracy Kawa with me on SpotOn Chat. Tracy is the president of Kawa Community Partners, and she's also SpotOn certified master trainer with Zorakle. So thanks for being with us today, Tracy.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to see you.
So, earlier you and I were talking about this coronavirus and how folks are feeling emotions maybe they haven't been feeling before. And most importantly, this feeling of being out of control. So I thought maybe we could talk a little bit more about what to do when your life and your business and the world seems completely out of control.
Get it all under control. We wish we could, right? Snap our fingers, close our eyes, blink, and this is all a dream.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, it's not. So we have to be innovative. We have to focus on what we can control. And we have to look, because there are things in our lives that are out of control and things in our lives that we can control. And that's a fact. And that's always the way it is. There are always things we can control and always things we can't. So to really get clear on what those items are that we are able to control, whether it's getting our house under control, whether it's assessing ourselves for a new direction, whether it's making sure that we're staying connected with our teams and supporting our teams and delivering some kind of professional development that we were not able to do before. Just whatever it is that's within your control, even if it's just in that moment.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting, this idea of chunking it down to something that I can control. Because I know sometimes when I am in a place where I have to create something and it requires an incredible amount of concentration and crunching in numbers and going through things, and it's just a mess of something and I'm feeling out of control, I find myself cleaning out a closet or cleaning out a drawer.
Yes.
Or vacuuming the house. And for years I go, what in the world? I have this massive project and this massive amount of data and I need to do something and I'm not getting there. And it's like, it was so big, a project that's so big where I feel out of control. I don't even know where to begin. Instead of me plowing away and doing that thing, I find myself doing something extremely simple. And then as soon as the house is clean or the drawer is cleaned or the closet is organized or whatever it is I'm going through, I sit back down at the desk and it's like boom, boom, boom. Things just seem to come together. And I don't know if it's just, neurologically this feeling, okay, I'm in control. I can control this particular thing, which then sort of empowers me to take something else that right now is just a mess of data and a mess of information and a big idea, but I don't know how to put all the pieces together. But it's definitely a technique that has worked for me for years and years and years. And I don't know if I'm an oddball or if others do the same thing.
Yeah, I think that was a perfect analogy, Rebecca, because you know what happens during that time when we're tapping into a different side of our brain. It could be a creative side of our brain, even if it's for an entirely different purpose. Your subconscious is still working on the problem at hand. And then when you come back to the table to deal with that problem, you're refreshed, you're revived, you have a whole new innovative mindset. And like you said, you feel accomplished, you feel like you were able to actually get something done, and you bring that mindset with you.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. I used to teach neurology at a naturopathic medical school, and we talked about the food of the brain is either creativity or challenge. And some of us thrive more on the creativity, right? The always coming up with new ideas or artistic expression or whatever it is. And some of us thrive on the food of challenge, but the brain needs both. It needs both of those things for it to be healthy and active and able to solve problems and able to see a future. So this idea of, all right, I feel out of control, great. This may not be the time to handle that challenge. Do something creative. Or the opposite, if I feel out of control, this may not be a time where I'm particularly creative. So how about I take on a different challenge, like organize the closet, right? Or something of that nature.
Absolutely. I love the way you broke that down, that the food for the brain is challenge and creativity, because you can actually alternate between the two. And not only that, I mean, this, if not this moment to provide us with challenge and a need for creativity, then what moment would there be that would call for that? I mean, people are working in new and innovative ways. And there are other ways that you can challenge yourself. So maybe it's cleaning out a closet, or maybe it's going out and getting some exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you've never exercised before. Maybe you've worked in an office and haven't really made that time for yourself. Maybe this is the time to challenge yourself to do 20 push-ups a day, to walk half a mile one day, a mile the next day. That can be challenge right there. And to find different creative ways to work out. And, that's another way to get things under your control.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that as being a challenge, but it definitely is a challenge if it's something that you haven't done before, or you don't have the muscle or the self-discipline in the past for exercise. So if the goal is to gain control, my life is out of control, I can control that I can walk around the yard 6 times, right? That we
Yeah.
can control. And we are creating a new habit and feeding our brains a new challenge, which not only helps us physically, but to your point, also helps us mentally to be able to handle other things like the crazy economy right now and some other challenges. That makes us more mentally and physically fit to deal with those kinds of things. I,
Absolutely.
these are brilliant suggestions. You know, one of the things that I have seen with many of my franchisors as well as our franchise brokers is this almost I gotta control everything, and the
Right.
reality is it kind of goes back to the Serenity Prayer, right? Which is we can't control everything. We can't control the economy. We can't control this coronavirus. We can't control everything that our clients are doing, or even what's happening in the world today. But being able to simplify and chunk it down to smaller pieces, while at the same time staying focused on the end result. If the end result is simply profitability, that's really not what your business is all about. What else is the business about? It's about relationship, right? It's about
Yes.
providing services and products that empower your clients. So it's taking this big thing, which is EBITDA, right? I want to be
Right.
profitable. I want return on investment, and
Right.
making it smaller. What causes that? What can I get better at? Relationship, communication, simplifying products, those kinds of things that make it more manageable, right? When it's in bite-sized pieces, it's much more manageable.
Yeah. And also now it's about adaptability and impact. So instead of, like you said, being focused on the financial bottom line, now it's about how can I have the biggest impact,
Mm-hmm.
on my team, on those around me, on my family, on the business, on my clients, on my customers. What service and products can I offer them that's going to help them through this time? What information can I give them? Can I deliver to them that will see them through or make things just a little bit easier? What kind of impacts can I have on others?
What a great question to ask. You wake up with that every day,
Right.
what impact, how can I
Yeah.
empower, how can I edify, how can I inspire? If you're waking up with that every day as your mission, right, that
Mm-hmm.
could certainly come up with all kinds of great new products, services, ideas. And sometimes the impact is just to be a listening ear, right? That you pick up a
Right.
phone and talk to someone. During this pandemic, especially since so many of us are isolating, uh,
Yeah.
it the lack of connectivity is heightened. Not only is there fear and concern and feelings of being out of control, but you're also isolated during this time, a time when we normally would be pulling together and hovering in some kind of a den or a cave together. We are
Yeah.
now all, with big moats around their homes, isolating. So this is so counterintuitive for us to isolate in crises. It's not how we are
Right.
wired neurologically as human beings. We don't
Wow.
isolate when we are in trouble. We gather the troops so we can go to war against whatever it is we're going to war against, hunger or pandemic. And so we're being put in a situation where we're going counter our human nature to isolate.
Yeah.
But there's ways, of course, that we can get around that. Thank goodness we're in the 21st century and we have technology that allows
Right.
us to connect and to reach out, maybe not with a hug like we would normally do, or a meal where we're sitting down, or a meeting or a conference, but there's other ways that we can connect.
Yeah. I agree with you. That's what I love about your brain, Rebecca. You have so much information inside of it. If everyone only knew um, how much of a concentration of information you have about the way, like you said, the way we're wired as
Mm-hmm.
human beings. I mean, tapping into that. I'm so grateful to be able to have conversations like this with you because I learned so much. I learn a lot from it.
Well, and these conversations are helpful to others also. If we understand our human nature, right, the way we're wired, I think we can feel greater self-acceptance, greater self-awareness, and begin to take control. If we're feeling irritable and frustrated and angry and unmotivated and not productive, it's likely a situational thing. If we just stop and we say, this is what's going on and this is how I am responding to it. Great. Is that working? Yes, no. And if it's not working, what can we
Yeah.
do? Many of the suggestions that you have made, the reframing, the simplifying, the exercise, the chunking things down into smaller pieces, and making sure that we're also connecting are all great strategies.
Yeah.
And some are going to work for some people and some are going to work better for other people.
And the keywords of the month, I think, are pivot and adaptability.
Yeah.
And that's what this all boils down to.
Yeah.
What we're sharing. Yeah.
Pivot and adapt. It's kind of the survival of the fittest, right? He who is most flexible is most successful. He who is most flexible, most adaptable will always come out on top. But once again, and maybe we can talk about this in a separate chat, not all of us are wired for adaptability. Some of us, like things the same way again and again, and it keeps us in situations, and this has caused a forced you got to change, you got to adapt, but not all of us are comfortable with doing
Right.
that.
We'll
Yeah.
have to discuss the work styles in our next spot
let's do
on chat.
let's do that.
Let's do it.
Let's
Let's do
do
it.
that. Thanks again. Thanks again, Tracy, for being with me today. And you're right. Let's talk about the work style in our next chat.
Let's do it.
Talk to you soon.